So you're thinking about making a move to Bend, or maybe you're already here and you're getting ready for some sort of lateral move. Talk about that a lot in my introduction, don't I? Today we're going to be hopping into the car, kind of doing a makeshift style road trip again. Yeah, I know I've done those a couple times over the past few videos. But what we want to do today is show you what a very, very early spring slash late day in early March really looks like around Bend. What's going on around town, especially the central part of town, when it's 65 degrees outside on, say, a Thursday afternoon? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be doing in today's video. We're going to be starting at the south end of the fun line. Remember, Zach coined that term last year, the fun line. It's downtown, the box factory, and the old mill district. Well, we're going to do that again, except in reverse order this time. We're going to be starting in the old mill. I'm going to drive you through the old mill. We're going to take a look around at what's going on in the old mill on a 65-degree early March day, say Thursday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then continue on through the box factory, maybe get an update as to what's going on with the Jackstraw, the big apartment complex development there, right in the middle of the box factory area. And then we'll continue through there and go to downtown to check out what's going on downtown. Then make our way to the west side and go up Awbrey Butte to give you guys an understanding of, okay, what's it like to drive from like the commercial areas to certain respective neighborhoods in Bend. A lot of people want to know, how far is Awbrey Butte from downtown? How far is it from the old mill? Well, we're going to be showing you what that looks like in today's video on this driving tour. So if this video sounds like it could be of service to you, stick around. Let's hop in the car right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel or it's your 50th, it doesn't matter to me. And you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good with the bad of living in Bend and surrounding sunny and warm Central Oregon in early March, then subscribe to the channel, tap that notification bell below so you can be the first to know about the current market happenings here in Bend and Central Oregon. My name's Ryan. I've lived in Bend for over 30 years. Zach and I, we get calls and texts every day from people just like you looking for help on their next transaction as it relates to real estate here in Central Oregon. So whether you're looking to make that transaction a reality in the next 9 days or 90 days, it doesn't matter to us either. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, set up a Zoom. And if you're here, let's go get coffee somewhere. We can discuss your situation to figure out what the next course of action should be. So today's video is going to be a driving tour again. We just had some fantastic weather in early March, and it was about 65 to even maybe 70 degrees for a couple days last week and last weekend. And that's very, I'd say, typical this time of year. We get these teaser days where, 3 or 4 days at a time, it gets up to 60, 65, maybe 70 degrees. And then everybody gets excited. All of a sudden, there's like this rejuvenation in the air. People are outside everywhere enjoying the weather, the sunshine. Most people haven't been able to go outside in a t-shirt for several months. It's just very unusual. Now, if you live in the valley, it's usually raining and cloudy. So when they get a sunny day of any kind, it's cause for celebration. We still have sunshine in the wintertime, but we have very cold sunshine. So when we get one of these warm days and you can go outside with just a t-shirt on or maybe shorts, some people had their shirts off running around. It's a cause for celebration. Spring is slowly beginning to show up. But if you're a seasoned veteran of the area, you know darn well that this is just a big tease. Okay, it's one of those 2 steps forward, 1 step back type mentalities as we get further and further out of the winter and more into the spring. It's going to take a couple of months still, unfortunately, if I'm being completely honest with you guys about when like that switch kind of flips on with the summertime and the late spring like weather. But it's coming. And so the days are getting longer. It's nice. So I wanted to show you guys what the kind of the fun line looked like on a very warm late winter day. So what I'm doing with the car, we're going to hop into it real quick in just a moment. I'm starting at the very south end of the old mill. So I'll show you guys what that looks like on a map, and then we'll just kind of drive along. I will do some commentating about what we're looking at just to give you a feel for what this part of Bend really is, because this part of Bend is probably the most centrally located in terms of not just its physical location, but also kind of like the hub of all things related to Bend, whether you're someone who lives here and just kind of lives their daily lifestyle, or you're conducting business of some sort in this particular area. This is a very big hub in terms of where business is done, or you're visiting and this is a vacation spot for you. Well, all things tend to gravitate towards the three locations that we're going to be driving through today. The downtown area, the Old Mill District, and the Box Factory. It's right next to the river, and it goes right up against the west side of town, which is a very popular area, and it's also the gateway to a lot of things outdoor. So, with that being said, let's hop into the car, and we'll just get going on our little tour of the Fun Line in reverse order. Okay, we are ripping through a roundabout. Go figure. This is Brookswood Boulevard and Reed Market Road. We just took a right onto Bond Street, heading down to the Old Mill. Now, if you look at those units up there on the right-hand side, up on that cliff, that's called the Bluffs. It's a townhome subdivision built back in 2005 and 6. Those units are fantastic. They have sweeping views of the mountains looking to the west, as you can see here in these pictures from like the balconies. The Old Mill District, as well as the Deschutes River. Pretty cool. Only one of those units has sold in the last 5 years, so they don't turn over very often, but it's really, really centrally located, as you can see here, as we embark upon Red Robin, one of the more popular Red Robin restaurants in all of the country, I'm told. We've got Banana Republic. We've got American Eagle to the right there. We just drove by our Old Mill 16 Theater. See, we've got regular nationally renowned businesses in Bend too. We're not just known for our mom and pops. As you can see, we're driving through. This is the Old Mill District here. It's kind of like an outdoor mall. It's pretty cool. Sephora there on the left. We got Sister's Coffee to the right. Straight ahead is a fantastic REI, probably the coolest REI store that exists in this Old Mill building with our famous landmarks of those three smokestacks. So pretty iconic right there. And then some fantastic restaurants as we zip by this portion of the Old Mill. We've got Anthropology up there on the left-hand side. Miss Bakery, okay, brand new bakery concept. Replaced Jimmy John's in that unit right there. And it's one of the most popular bakeries in town. I hear the line is out the door. I've been there a couple times, and the line has been out the door on a couple of Sunday mornings that I've been there. So pretty interesting. And just like that, we are almost on the outside part of the Old Mill, like the commercial area, like the outdoor mall portion of it. We're coming up on Bond Street. It loops around, but we went through the Old Mill. We're going to take a left here and enter into the Box Factory area now. Now, those blue buildings you see straight ahead, those are two towering skyscrapers for Bend, 65 and 75 feet respectively in height. They are called the Jackstraw. 313 unit apartment complex set to open up in the fall of 2025. There's studio apartments that are going for $1,500 a month, and they have two, three, four-bedroom apartments going for as much as $4,000 to $5,000 a month. So urban living right here in Bend as we continue through some of these brownstone style buildings. We've got condominiums and townhomes on the left. We're going by Strictly Organic Coffee on the right there. And we are on our way to downtown now. We just kind of drove by the Box Factory, but this is all a very pedestrian friendly part of Bend here. You can see these people out right now. Think about this. It's like a 65-degree day in early March. So people have just been kind of clammed up and stuck inside the house for a long time, for several months. It's been nice. It's still sunny. January was still great when it comes to the weather, but it doesn't have the same feeling and the vibe that, say, a warm day where you can walk outside in your t-shirt actually provides. And so we're continuing on Bond Street here now. We're making our way downtown. And we're coming up here on the old St. Francis School building, which has now been turned into a McMenamins. It's not like it's new. It's been McMenamins for 20 plus years. But that's a really cool little spot there, worth checking out if you're visiting. But we're coming up here. This is going to be the Franklin Crossing. This is the intersection of Bond and Franklin. We're coming into like the heart of downtown. We've got the Franklin building to the right there, one of the original taller buildings. That's probably 20 years old now. But that's a great building there. There's a couple good restaurants in there. And we're coming northbound now into the downtown area. So you get a feel for what downtown, what the vibes are like. This is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon. This is the traffic here. It's hard to find a parking spot. We're going by some restaurants on the left, a couple banks on the right. And we continue going northbound. The original Deschutes breweries up here on the right-hand side there, that kind of tall building right there with those with the gates overlooking the balconies. And then we look straight ahead. This is the courthouse, Deschutes County Courthouse, and it is going on. It is under a massive renovation right now, a $45 million renovation where they're adding 50,000 square feet, and that is slated to be done by say 2026. I'd say mid 2026 sometime. So big cranes. We've got 4 or 5 of those tall cranes in Bend right now, just all across the skyline. Bend passed an ordinance a couple years ago that allows for taller building. We used to have this ordinance in place to preserve mountain views for everybody, no more than 3 stories. And now I think it allows for, say, 75, 80 feet tall. So you can squeeze 7, 8 stories into a building. And there are several of those going up. And they have been going up for a couple of years now. So if you haven't been to Bend for a while, it's going to look different next time you're here. Now we are on, this is Newport Drive or Newport Avenue. We're heading westbound. We just crossed the Deschutes River. We're coming into one of the main parts of the west side of Bend here. And the Newport Avenue area, as well as the Galveston Avenue area, those are the two kind of primary east to west byways. We've done videos on both of the corridors in the past, and we're probably due for an updated version of that because there's new construction going on over here as well on a pretty regular basis. But we're coming up on a very famous elementary school. This is going to be Highland at Kenwood. It used to be simply called Kenwood Elementary when I was a kid growing up. And what we're going to do here is come up here on the 9th Street and Newport Avenue corridor slash roundabout. We're going to hang a right and go up Awbrey Butte. If we go straight here, there's some fantastic businesses up here. We've got the Newport Avenue Market. You've got a great selection of like small restaurants like Spork, in addition to a couple of other little concepts that are just really cool and just give the neighborhood and the area a really cool vibe. Newport Avenue Market's one of my favorite grocery stores. A little spendy, but you know what? You know, it's worth it. Pretty good, pretty cool stuff in there for sure. Now we're on 9th Street. We're heading up the slope of Awbrey Butte. You see on the right-hand side and the left-hand side, these are older homes. This is more like the West Hills. This is the portion of Awbrey Butte that was developed in the 70s and the 80s. And they didn't really develop the top part of Awbrey Butte until the 90s. And so as we continue traversing up the slope here on 9th Street, you're going to see older homes, single level homes. On the left-hand side, we're going by Hillside Park there on the right. But as we get through about right here, yeah, this is kind of like where they stopped development back in the 80s and just let it be for a while. And then come like early 1990s is when they kind of broke ground and started developing way up here. Now we're getting up to the top of the Butte here. This is where 9th Street meets Summit Drive. You can see that sign straight ahead. That's Awbrey Butte. You're thinking about moving to Bend and you want to live up on top of the hill facing the west or maybe the east. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be covering in today's video. We are going to be touring Awbrey Butte today, our acclaimed butte, in addition to Pilot Butte, in the city limits of Bend, where all the houses are. So if this video sounds like it's for you, stick around. We're going to be getting after this tour of Awbrey Butte right now. Awbrey Butte, we're in the neighborhood. We're at basically the very top of the butte here. Just took a ride onto Summit Drive, and we are just kind of ripping around here. We're now facing east, and you can see homes. Okay, there's a home. There's a couple sets of homes there on the right-hand side. And there's homes on the left-hand side. There's a bunch of streets that go in. That's Promontory right there. And we're just kind of ripping around the east slope of Summit Drive here. We're going to come down now. You're going to see homes on the right-hand side. These range anywhere between, say, I'd say high, like 900,000, depending on the view, to, Awbrey Butte's going to have $2-3 million homes up here. And then there's certain subdivisions down the lower portions, the north-facing portion of Awbrey Butte, North Rim. They're going to have $3.5 million homes up there too. But if you look straight ahead, that's kind of like where Powell Butte is, eastbound. And we're just kind of ripping around here, and we're on the east face of Awbrey Butte. Now, again, there's over 1,000 home sites up here on Awbrey Butte, and it's a very popular area. If you like views, if you like being able to see the views of the mountains to the west, if you like being able to see the morning sunshine and the city views to the east, if you like seeing the north-facing views, where you have Mount Jefferson, you have Smith Rock, you have Mount Hood, you're going to have all those options. And options are fun to have, especially if you're living on the Butte in a very central location that's a residential neighborhood knowing that you're that close. It took us about 5 minutes to get up to the top of the butte from, say, the old mill or the box factory area where we really started this video. So Bend, while it's growing, it's becoming a more diverse city. It's getting more and more congested with its population. It's still a relatively small town, especially for people that are coming in from larger metropolitan areas where they're used to sitting in traffic for hours upon hours each and every day, not a collection of sitting in traffic for the course of weeks or months where it adds up to hours. Like this is like literally traffic in Bend is going to be like 15 minutes at most, maybe 20 minutes, depending on the route that you're taking. I do have a video coming up about the traffic on Third Street, so we'll get to that here in a couple weeks. But ultimately speaking, today we're talking about the fun line, right? Those three primary areas, those hubs, if you will, where people kind of flock to for their entertainment purposes, for their proximity to, say, the concerts or to the river or to the west side of town. It's just a very, very trendy area. They're all back to back to back, and they all kind of complement each other because they're so close. They're all kind of on the same route, the same line on Bond Street there. So hopefully a video like this has served you in some capacity, gives you some perspective, especially if you're coming in to visit sometime soon to learn more about the area. Make it a point to come to the Fun Line, go to one of these or all three of these areas, check them out, and then start to think about where you would like to live in proximity to these three areas. Because ultimately speaking, if you live in Bend, you're probably going to be utilizing the three primary entertainment bureaus, areas, the Fun Line, at some point on a fairly regular basis. It's just the way it is. People tend to gravitate to the central part of Bend and to the west side of Bend for some reason, seemingly every day. And if it's not every day for some, then it's certainly multiple times a week. My name's Ryan. I'm a licensed broker with eXp Realty. I thank you for watching this video. If you're still here at this point in the video, if it's your time to reach out, it starts with you. Call us, text us, email us, set up a Zoom call. If you're local, reach out and we can go meet somewhere and have a cup of coffee to discuss your situation. Zach and I would like to be the ones that do help you with your next transaction as it relates to your real estate needs. My name is Ryan. Like I said, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.